This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies at Squarespace. Turn your great idea into a reality with Squarespace. They make it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're showcasing your work or selling products of any kind. With beautiful templates and the ability to customize just about anything, you can easily make a beautiful website yourself. And if you do get stuck, their 24/7 award-winning customer support is there to help. So check out squarespace.com for your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com, offer code GRACE for 10% off.
Hi, Jack Ferry.
Hi, Grace Helbig. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I just got back from Detroit.
Oh, yeah. You went to a wedding.
I did. It was really fun.
Any specific standout moments?
Well, the best part about it was, I mean, besides, seeing my family, obviously, was they had a live Motown band.
I love when weddings have live music at the receptions.
It was so
a
great.
Motown band?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you can't not dance.
Like, the true Detroit experience because of that. Yeah, it was great. I danced like a dum-dum, and it was super fun. Did
you have the classic overly drunk aunt or uncle?
I had the overly drunk brother-in-law.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, but we went back to the hotel. I mean, I was drunk too, so like whatever, no shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like went back to the hotel together. It was me, my sister, and my brother-in-law, her husband. And yeah, we there's like a trolley, I guess, that like shuttled us back and forth from the hotel and the venue. So we got on and we were waiting for a while, and then at a certain point they were like, well, it's just the three of us. And then we got back to the hotel and Jason like fell out of the thing.
Oh yeah.
Like fell out of the trolley. And it was really funny because the driver was like, whoa.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're like, we had a great time at this wedding.
Yeah, when my older brother got married, I might have said this on the podcast before, it was a shit show, but like really fun shit show.
Yeah.
To the point that like we had to all take like separate cars, and there was a trolley too that was going back and forth from the reception hall to the hotel.
Yeah.
So we were so drunk. I think I got on the trolley and went back, or a sober aunt or someone drive me. I don't remember how I got back to the hotel, but I did hear when I got back to the hotel, my mom came in and she was like, your younger brother's really drunk, Grace. Just keep an eye on him because he refused to get in the car. He said he was going to walk to the hotel. When we left the reception, Tim was like, I'm fine. I'll be fine. My mom was like, get in the car. He was like, I'm good. I'll walk back. And we have no idea. He had no idea how to walk back.
Oh, my.
My stepdad was like, Tim, get in this car. And then Tim came back to the hotel and just started poking people in the faces at the bar, just saying, I will destroy you. And that's how he got his YouTube channel, Tim Will Destroy You.
Sure.
So
that's
weddings really bring people together.
They really do.
They're super fun. Have you had a particular wedding that you've ever been to that has been like the most iconic one?
I mean, the one that sticks out to me the most is probably my brother's, just because I was his best man.
Oh, that's fun.
And so I got to give the best man speech, which
Did it kill?
I mean, it did, because it was like a roast. Like, I basically eviscerated him. But it was really fun because my brother's got such a great sense of humor that he's able to laugh at himself.
And that's a lot of pressure to give the speech at the reception, because that's a form of entertainment. You're making people stop and listen to you. And if a speech is not good, it goes so bad.
Yeah. I had like outs. Like I gave myself like little exits. I was like, if this isn't starting to land, like this is how I can get out of the toast quickly. But it thankfully, his friends have also a great sense of humor, and everyone was laughing really hard. And it was cool too. It was just heartening too, because afterwards people were like, so do you like do stand-up and stuff in New York? And I was like,
and you're like, me?
No, I was terrified to do this.
Oh,
so
that's great.
Thank you very much.
What's your advice to someone out there that might have to write a best man speech or a maid of honor speech?
My advice is usually try to find sort of like your favorite quality about that person that you can both sort of poke fun at.
You can rip it apart,
but then also like bring it back to like make it be about like that's sort of like the heart of why, and like make that sort of the theme of like the essay of the speech, I guess. Yeah. And then it's very important that you include the bride into how that sort of fits together.
That makes sense. I also think keep it brief.
Yeah. Mine was not brief, but
well, if you're not going to be brief, make it entertaining.
Yeah, if you're not going to be brief, at least be funny. And that's the thing too, is like give yourself an out. So if you feel like, oh, this what I thought was going to land really great isn't, you can just sort of be like, okay, well, I've embarrassed him enough. Also, I wish him the best, and then move on to the end.
Yeah, I think also prep. beforehand because
Oh,
I've
I
been to
practiced
weddings.
so much.
I'm sure you did. I can imagine you in your mirror running your lines. I've been to weddings where the maid of honor or the best man, their speech was an afterthought. So
clearly winging it.
They get up and wing it, and they're
Yeah.
shit faced, and it just goes forever, and it goes in circles to the point where like the groom has to be like, okay, well, let's wrap it up because this is going nowhere.
Yeah,
and it's well-intentioned.
That's so embarrassing. When
It's
that
well-intentioned, but
happens.
it's just so cringy because you're keeping everyone's attention. You're keeping them from going to the bar, getting another drink, getting their food.
Sure.
The best wedding I remember I went to was on 4th of July on like Long Island maybe or something. It was a guy I was dating, this like really close friend, and they had like the bride and him had some cash money.
Nice.
And the wedding was so fun. It was like brass band. You saw fireworks. It was like on the water. It was beautiful. Super like dance like maniacs. And then all of a sudden at the end of the night they go, we have one last surprise for our guests. And we were like, we're getting cars. What's going on? And they
getting cars.
Literally this room that was attached to the banquet hall that we hadn't even noticed the entire night all of a sudden opens up and it's just a room full of desserts with a giant chocolate fountain in the middle of it.
Wow.
And I squealed like an 11-year-old little girl when that happened. I was so drunk that I was just like, sweets! Oh my God.
That's so funny.
It was, I was like, Barry, you have nailed this wedding. This is the best wedding I've ever been to.
I'm impressed. That's some real showmanship.
It was really impressive. Plus, it was a fun wedding because I wasn't close. So I got to be like the +1 and like fly under the radar of like anyone knowing me. So I got to like be pretty drunk, but like no one knew how to relate it to like my normal sense of drunk.
Yeah, I mean that's like my secret sort of like reason why I like weddings is because it's socially acceptable to get a little bit too drunk and to dance very poorly.
Very poorly.
Because I'm a terrible dancer, but I enjoy dancing.
Yeah.
And I feel free at weddings because no one can dance well at weddings.
And that's exactly what was happening at this wedding. It was so much fun. But well, I'm glad you made it back.
Thank you. It's
I'm
nice
sure
to
it
be
was a
back.
journey.
Although I have to say, I've never been to Detroit before. I was very impressed.
Yeah?
I think it's a really cool town.
That's
and I hope it bounces back because
I think you were saying before it already is.
It has been, yeah. It's just great to. I was just impressed with it, even though it was like sort of dreary and rainy the whole time. There's like a lot of just like great art and it's just got like a cool vibe, and there's so much history there, and there's so much like musical history there, and it's just really cool.
There's shows on like Comedy Central, like Detroiters, that are really kind of showcasing that town more. It feels like it's getting built up. It's getting a limelight put on it in a more positive way than what everyone else assumes Detroit is.
Yeah, I agree. So I think hopefully like a big industry comes there, and people take advantage of the depressed housing rates and buy cheap,
Yeah, so you came back with a hangover and an appreciation.
Yeah, I
That's
did
the sign
indeed.
of a great wedding.
Yeah.
Well, you did it. Speaking of someone that I appreciate very much.
Oh, I do as well.
I've
been a big fan for a while.
Yeah, Jack kind of fangirled this episode.
A little bit.
Laci Green is with us. She is an amazing sex educator on YouTube and just in life. She's just like super smart, super delightful. And I think doing a ton for making sex positive conversations more normal, for creating conversations. Because I grew up in a very like British repressed, like my mom told me that her mom gave her a book to teach her about sex. So my mom didn't feel comfortable talking to me about it.
And you didn't get good sex education in high school, right?
No, we had like the bare basic, but I don't remember any of it because everyone was so uncomfortable the whole time.
We were super uncomfortable too. Our sex education was actually excellent at West Effort High.
There you go.
Just because, I don't know, for whatever reason, it was just comprehensive. Like we learned about, this is not just like the anatomy, the male anatomy, the female anatomy. This is how you get pregnant. This is how you don't get pregnant. This is, these are all the STIs. They did teach abstinence, but they also like very cringily showed us and then made us do it, like put a condom on a banana, which is
stereotype. We never did any of that.
We did that, and I'm glad we did because it was interesting when I went to college, even at like a progressive university like NYU. It was interesting to see the disparity between the people who had good sex education and the people who had like none.
Yeah, and I think Laci's really doing a great job online because everyone in high school now lives on the internet of creating a safe environment and a safe space to have more detailed and in-depth conversations. I mean, she just taught us a couple things in this episode that we didn't even know as like functioning adults.
Yeah, I know.
So guys, I'm very excited for you to hear this wonderful interview with the always delightful Laci Green.
Not too deep.
With Grace Helbig.
Hey, Grace.
Hey, Jack Ferry, let me guess.
Go for it.
We're sponsored by Squarespace today?
That's correct. How did you know?
I just took a wild guess because they're so wonderfully supportive. And if it's not a sponsorship by Squarespace, I'm shocked,
Yes,
honestly.
I would be shocked as well. So, and you guys should turn your dream into a reality with Squarespace.
Yes, they make it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more. Squarespace is the tool for you.
And they've got beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything you want with just a few clicks. And you can easily build a beautiful website yourself.
You know that firsthand because you have.
I have, and I do. I've made several websites using Squarespace for my podcasts. And they've got powerful e-commerce functionality so that they can, which helps you sell stuff online. They've got analytics to help you grow your site. And everything is optimized for mobile. So you don't have to worry about like, will this work on a phone? So there's nothing to patch. There's nothing to upgrade. Ever.
Wouldn't even know where to begin patching a website, but buying a domain is simple and you get the help that you need even if you are curious about patching because Squarespace has 24/7 award-winning customer support.
They empower millions of people from designers to lawyers, artists to gamers, restaurants, gyms, dare I say, filmmakers and podcasters.
Whoa.
to turn great ideas into something real. And here's the best part. You guys can go check out squarespace.com for your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, just use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com, offer code GRACE for 10% off.
Not too deep.
Jack Ferry, we have a very exciting sponsor of Not Too Deep today.
Tell me.
It is the Beyond Burger. It is an uncompromisingly delicious plant-based burger that is packed with protein and better for you and the planet.
I heard about this. This is not like your typical like hippie college roommate veggie burger.
No, and I haven't even heard about it. I have gone so far as to eaten it.
Oh, tell me about it because I haven't tried one yet.
It was delicious. It's so closely, it looks like meat and cooks like meat. It's bizarre.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's actually so filling and so delicious that you feel like you're not missing out on any of the, if you are not a vegetarian, any of the normal like proteins you would get from meat.
Yeah, and I think that's the main worry about if you're eating something plant-based is, am I getting any protein out of it? And that's exactly what you get. They use protein from peas, potato starch, coconut oil. So it's without gluten, soy, or GMOs.
And it is the only plant-based burger that is so meaty. It's sold in the meat case at grocery stores nationwide.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. This delicious plant-based Beyond Burger comes with less baggage and more benefits, so you can eat what you love and feel better while doing it.
So this summer, add some sizzle to your grill with this revolutionary burger that satisfies even the most ravenous of carnivores. I know I am definitely going to try it.
You really have to. Honestly, it's great. I'm a huge fan, big fan. And a fun game is having a summer cookout, put a Beyond Meat burger next to a real burger, see if anyone can tell the difference.
Yeah, I would like to try that. If you guys are ready to taste the future of protein made from plants, you can visit Beyond Meat, that's MEAT.com/Grace. beyondmeat.com/Grace and click the Where to Find button to find a local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/Grace.
Laci Green is here. Yay!
Hi.
This is so exciting. You just celebrated your 10 years?
Yeah.
How long ago did you celebrate 10 years?
Like maybe a year ago.
Okay.
Who's keeping track?
Who's keeping track? I know. It's bizarre to me that YouTube's even 10 years old.
I know. It's so weird.
It's super nuts. So what was your 10 years, 11 years ago?
Yeah.
What was your rationale for starting or posting your first video?
Well, back then, YouTube was just a site for weirdos
Right.
who would just like post their webcam videos in the dark, like in their bedrooms. It was
like sitting on the floor in front of their bed.
Like, who is this creeper? And I wanted to be a creeper,
Yep.
join the conversation. And I just started making videos for fun because I was kind of like going through a rough time as a teenager and wanted to be mad at mom and dad on the internet.
There you go.
YouTube was like
an outlet.
and YouTube was a perfect place to do that.
Yeah. Were you in school when you were doing videos?
Yeah, I started when I first started college.
Okay.
At the beginning, and then
that's like Tyler Oakley kind of scenario too.
Yeah, totally. A lot of OG people just kind of like messing around online, you know, just letting off some steam, being angry or being happy or, you know.
Being authentic.
Yeah. Just a fun like playground to express yourself, which it's maybe changed like a little bit. But
it's, I mean, 11 years later, and I guess it's par for the course. Like we've been talking to like a lot of people. I talked to Hannah about this a lot, that nothing's going to remain the same if it's just like this totally experimental platform. It's obviously going to get its tropes. It's going to get its stereotypes. It's like, I have to keep reminding myself it's a lot like Hollywood, I would imagine, when people came out here just to make pictures, you know?
Yeah,
and
that's
then all
true.
of a
That's a
sudden,
good point.
now all these studios exist, and now all these copycat shows and game shows and things like that exist, and things don't feel, the things that hit really well, like Atlanta, I feel like, is because it's like this resurgence of this authentic piece of art that someone's making.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets, right now, I'm a little burnout on it. And I was looking through your Instagram and Twitter and all of that. And I was like, you took a break from social media for a second, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm always on a break from social media. I go back for one day and I'm like, oh God, I'm tired. I need another year off. It's just really bad.
I was reading your post when I guess you Instagram not long ago, being like, sorry, I took such a break, guys. I get overwhelmed using social media. And I was like, this is exactly how I feel. Every time I, like, just by default, open up Instagram or Twitter, and then I just get anxiety, but I feel like I have to like push through it to keep checking it.
Well, you seem pretty good at pushing through it. I mean, I would never suspect that you're having like the mixed feelings.
I'm very good
that
at
you're
repressing. Yeah, I'm very
that's
British.
A good skill. Just push it down.
Push it down, and it doesn't exist. But so how do you feel now, having been on there for like 11 years, going through it?
Yeah, I just feel like I've watched kind of this place that was like a secret hideaway turn into this massive corporate playground where now it's like not just people like having fun and messing around, although there is that too.
Right.
But people are, you know, going to make their careers on YouTube, and businesses see so much money in it. And that's fantastic in the sense that, you know, we can do what we love and put a roof over our head, you know, but at the same time, it's kind of
gross.
I think, let's be honest. It's a little disgusting at times. And like, you really see people kind of push the limits of everything.
Of everything.
Yeah.
But what you've been doing and what you've like carved out online is so interesting, because it's like sex education, which I think is so important. We were talking a little bit about this before you got here, that I didn't learn anything in high school. I didn't learn anything from my parents, really. It was the internet that taught me like about sex, and then like peers that teach you. Yeah. So having someone like you that feels like a peer online giving information, whether it's like, you know, TMI or whatever, it's important
Often
for
TMI.
it's important for kids to like hear that from someone authentically, like genuinely.
Totally. That's definitely like the cool part of the internet, right?
Yeah.
You can really get that kind of stuff that's been kind of in the shadows or taboo in real life.
Right.
You can just post it online.
Exactly.
And nobody can stop you. And nobody can stop teenagers from watching it. It's kind of like this beautiful storm of chaos.
I've been a fan for a while just because it felt like you were sort of flying in the face of a lot of like what's going on politically, where it's sort of like restricting access to sex education, and you've been so vocal for so long for young people, and I think that's really important, and like I'm really impressed by it. I think that's great.
It's also
that's so sweet of you.
It's very sex positive, which, you know,
which is another very important thing.
Yeah, because you're always presented with this taboo about sex. I mean, I saw that you had like posted a poll on your Twitter being like, how do you sex? Like, do you do it in relationships, one night stands, wait till marriage? And the results were really interesting. Yeah. Was the number one relationships?
Yeah, the number one was relationships, but a lot of people were mad about that poll because I didn't put both.
Oh, okay.
They're like, I do it all the time. Like, that's a good point.
Yeah,
true.
The restrictions of, you know, late night Twitter polls. But yeah, it's fun to be able to talk to people about their sex life in a space that I think people feel more comfortable with it.
Right.
You're kind of like, you're still in your bedroom. You're not in like, it is public, but it doesn't feel public. So that kind of creates a nice place for people to be able to open up more.
Totally.
And overcome some of those weird things that happen in a classroom or, just talking to people.
Oh, I had sex education in a classroom and it was so awkward.
So awkward. No, that's why we didn't learn anything because everyone was so in their own brains about how awkward and uncomfortable this is rather than feeling comfortable enough to pay attention to what's being said to you.
I would have much preferred to go home and watch videos on my computer and watch my gym teacher put a condom on a banana.
What is the most common sex myth that you have debunked or the funniest one that you've debunked?
Oh my God. I feel like there's so many about vaginas.
Right.
Like I just have a long checklist of things that I'm saying over and over and over about
that's
female
because
anatomy.
they are a grand mystery to half
true.
the population.
How can we know women's bodies?
It's impossible. It's literally impossible to know.
Literally. Until the internet came along.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think...
so what are some of the crazy vagina
Jack's
myths?
so go on, tell me.
Yes, I do.
About those vaginas.
Educate me, Laci.
The main ones that come up constantly are about the hymen.
Okay.
That's such a popular idea that you need to break your hymen.
Right.
It's just oh my God. The hymen doesn't break. It just doesn't.
I didn't even know that. I'm 32 years old.
Yeah.
I haven't explicitly Googled it, but yeah.
It's just one of those things, right? That you just sort of learn the first time you have sex, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's a weird one.
And also not for everyone.
Right.
It's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. It's all these things is everybody is different.
Right.
But in general, this idea that the hymen is something that needs to be broken when you put your hands or things in. And people know that's not true because they're confused when they put a tampon in.
Right.
And they're like, how does this
happen?
How is blood coming out? Sorry, not to get too
go
graphic,
for it.
but how am I having my period? Right. How, if you have to break a hymen, how am I menstruating? So I think a lot of people are confused about it, but it never gets corrected. So there's that.
Interesting.
And then the smelly vaginas is the other one.
Okay.
Constantly.
What is that? Wait, what does that mean?
Is the question why does my vagina smell?
Yeah, our vaginas are gross, vaginas are smelly, they're fishy, all of this weird. It's where does this go? Yes, genitals smell a little musky. Okay. I think Amy Schumer did a great stand-up about
they're
the barn
kept
animal.
in a sweaty area. Your armpits also are not the most naturally great smelling area of your body.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't smell like, flowers.
Right.
But penises don't smell like flowers
I would
either.
say armpits smell worse.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
You got that stinky BO going on. Yeah. At least that isn't coming down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
And with that, because you're giving actual information, because you're just giving straight up facts and debunking mythology about sex and the world around it, you get a lot of angry parents.
Yeah.
Coming at you online.
And that's what's impressive. No, seriously, because you stand up to that and you don't back down, which I think is really admirable.
Thank you.
But it's because you're giving information to, what's the general anger coming from? Is it just that how dare you tell my child something that I haven't told them yet because I also didn't know and I'm uncomfortable with my own sexuality?
Well, not to put too fine a point on it there, but pretty much. I think that's what a lot of it boils down to, right?
Yeah.
But it really depends on where they're coming from with it. A lot of the time the angry parents are from a more conservative, religious situation. I've actually been dealing with this crazy situation in West Virginia. So this school district out there.
Really, this super liberal state of West Virginia? I find that so surprising.
I know, it's crazy that I would have a problem out there.
It must be unique and,
I thought it was all just pride parades.
One day, I'm holding on for West Virginia.
Yeah, we're rooting for you, West Virginia.
We've seen brighter days in West Virginia. Yeah, they have this high school showed one of these videos that was about male pleasure.
Okay. One of your videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The sex educator showed it for a unit in the high school, and the parents freaked
Really?
Out. So much so that they're filing a lawsuit against the school district.
That's insane.
Can you believe that? And this is what they said. The
I can't wrap my brain around that.
Because they're corrupting the youth? Is that what they're arguing?
Well, the parent arguments are just hilarious. So if you want a lol, it's a good Google. But these guys are accusing the school of mental violation.
Mental violation?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Mentally violating their kids.
Oh, that they broke into their brains?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's such loaded language. Like, this is such a weird way to handle this. Like, with a lawsuit, the teacher was put on leave. It's just like it's just a big drama. And all of these like local press outlets were contacting me like, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, God.
Like, I have no like bearing on that. It's just my video.
I didn't ask them to play that video
or anything like that.
It's not even a recent video, right?
It's an older video.
Yeah.
And I understand a little bit of the weirdness because in that video I talk about blowjobs.
Okay.
And, I'm very pro like sex is pleasurable, sex is fun, sex is healthy, do your thing. But I generally don't, in like a classroom setting, wouldn't go into like, here's how to give a good blowjob.
Yeah, that can be a little taken the wrong way if you're a parent and you find like, what'd you do in school today? I learned how to give a blowjob. Excuse me, what?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. I think anything worth learning is worth learning how to do right.
Well, there's that.
I mean, you're only just setting your child up for success.
Right?
That's right.
If they're going to find out the wrong way, don't let them have that. They have access to the internet.
Totally.
So my question is, since the state of West Virginia shut this down, I guess no one's having sex there.
Yeah, it's absolutely like they bottomed out.
Yeah, so
there's no more pregnancy or STDs happening. It's actually really amazing.
Abstinent outside of marriage because of this lawsuit.
So West Virginia is going to cease to exist eventually if no one's procreating.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
their future is obviously at stake. Yes. A really funny thing though, as a side note, after all of those press outlets covered this, my like. What is it, like 13 to 17 graphic on YouTube watching that video went up by 300,000 in one day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just on that video. And I was like,
shit.
Wow. Okay, so by trying to like tell these kids not to watch it, you basically made sure the entire state saw it.
Yeah.
Right.
Good job.
Good job, you guys.
A+.
Wow, that really backfired on them.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It is pretty.
So they chose. They basically volunteered to violate their own brains.
That's right. That's right. Voluntary mental violation happening on the internet.
They put fuel on that mental violation fire big time. Good job, you guys.
Wow, our country is absurd sometimes.
It's a little crazy.
You went to a sex bot factory.
I did.
Oh, I want to know about that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And also, do you have a sex bot now? Because you say you want one.
One day, okay. Grace. One step at a time.
Do you like on a payment plan?
That's right.
You got one on layaway.
Getting it set up. That's why I really went there.
Yeah, tell us about that. I didn't even know that these were places that you could visit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. The sex bots are a thing, and a lot of people are talking about AI and like robots and seeing creepy robot videos.
Sure.
Totally. So I was like,
that's
wait,
all sex bots on that show.
Truly.
It is actually. That's a good point. Westworld's about sex bots.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but it was a wild journey.
Where was the factory?
It's out in the middle of nowhere, like on the way to San Diego.
Okay, so it's in the United States.
It is.
Okay. I was like, did you go to Russia or something?
Yeah, or I thought I thought maybe Japan.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are sex bot factories in both of those places.
Right.
But there's one right next door.
So it's just like a short drive.
Yeah.
Grace, what are you doing later?
I mean, let's take this podcast on the road.
Yeah, I feel like everyone should have that experience. It was very enlightening.
So what was it like?
It was cool. I went in like, oh, people are having sex with these dolls. So I'm just going to kind of like get a feel for why.
Yeah, I've watched real doll documentaries before and they're fascinating.
They are fascinating, I agree.
Yeah, I forget what the guy's name, something Cat, Dave Cat or something is like one of the main subjects of it.
Is that the one who has like 13 of them?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But it's fascinating.
13.
That was less sex connection and more like building actual like emotional connections to these like dolls. But so is it similar?
They're like companions.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. Like I talked to the guy who makes them and he really humanized the issue. Because when you think about sex bots and like guys buying $13 or something, you have this idea in your head of like, who is this creepy, lonely man who's like having sex with these dolls? And yeah, when you talk to them, it does give you more empathy for what's going on.
Yeah, it humanizes it, like you said. Yeah.
Like he said, a lot of his clients are widowed, like they lost their wives, which is really horrible and sad.
Sad, but also makes more sense, obviously.
Yes,
if they're like, I don't want to do this emotional thing again.
Yeah, like I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
And this is like this interesting middle ground for me to heal sexually and maybe emotionally a little bit too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I also think there's a stigma, particularly when it comes to male sex toys. I think it's much more sort of like, ironically, sort of socially acceptable to like, yes, women have vibrators. That's totally fine. We can all talk about it. It's no big deal.
No, that
but
is true.
You talk about a guy buying a fleshlight and immediately it's just like,
what a creep.
oh, gross. You're like fucking a piece of rubber, where it's just sort of like, what is the difference? And when I look at the sex bot thing, I just think this is just a extremely expensive, over the top sex toy.
What's the average price?
He told me they are around 15 to 20,000 for the ones. I know
that's like a car
for the ones that talk.
For the ones that talk.
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't know they talked.
They have this new AI. I think it just launched, or it's launching this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah, it talks to you. The other ones are a little cheaper, like closer to $7,000.
That's still so much money for a sex toy.
But wait, so they talk, meaning like you pre-program it with phrases, or it is able through AI to figure out a conversation that you're having with it?
The latter. Yeah, it's
Wow.
more like Siri.
Crazy.
Think Siri, but like sex bot Siri.
Oh, Siri's not
see,
sexy.
that kind of that I'm not ready for.
Me neither.
That I'm like, wow. But I
feel
can
that.
understand someone like that is an episode of Black Mirror. Like the woman's husband dies and then she brings back basically like the robot version of him.
Yeah.
And then she
That's
gets
a great episode.
So
So
good. But it feels similar to that where, you know, she's technically widowed and wants him to come back.
Totally.
Whoa, that's so nuts.
Yeah.
And you basically, because I remember growing up and getting like American Girl dolls, and you could customize, they had magazines where you could customize the face and the eye color and the hair and the dress. Is it similar kind of?
It totally is. And that was another interesting thing about visiting the factory is you see how much intense artistic skill goes into these. Like my favorite part was the eyes.
Yeah.
They look like real human eyes. It like really freaks me out. But
Interesting.
this woman, she just like sits there and like hand paints them.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they're super talented artists. So it was cool going to the warehouse because like all these badass people just like making body parts that look like real body parts.
Was there like that uncanny valley that you hear about where it's sort of like it looks real but not quite real? So because of that, it's a little bit off-putting.
There's a slight creepiness. And I've always found dolls and mannequins and things like that super creepy.
Same.
Like I can't handle it.
Same.
You know?
Like even going to like haunted houses or like, you know, prop shops and stuff like that out here. Like I did something on the set of like Walking Dead once and went into their like
cadaver room.
basically, and things look so real. It's creepy. And they're like, touch it. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
Gonna pass on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it is that sort of like it's almost there. But there's something just a little off, and I feel like that's the creepiest place to be in.
Yeah, wow. I mean, what a like idea for a haunted night. Just stay in the sex bot warehouse overnight.
Oh my God.
That would be
I'd be into that. I'd be into that.
But you
could get freaky, you know? Don't know what's
see
gonna
what
happen down
happens.
say
there.
yes to that dress.
After dark.
You wrote a book.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Is it? It's currently out?
It's coming out in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it called? What's it about?
It's called Sex Plus. And it's like a crash course to sex for young people.
This feels long overdue.
It is. Well, you know, I've been working on it for so long.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of YouTubers like they get their books out so much faster, and I'm like, help! This took so much time.
But yours isn't. It's very. It has to be highly like researched, I imagine.
Yes.
It has to. You don't want to give incorrect information or pass on anything that might influence someone negatively.
Exactly. That was why it took so long. You know, I'm like sitting there, like figuring out the right way to say a thing, and you're rewriting it a million times. I mean, you've written a book. You know the
but
struggle.
My book is
I'm
very
sure
stupid and is supposedly supposed to be stupid. So it's like
right. Well, it's supposed to be fun and
but that and not educational at all. I do not throw out anything that's informative on any level. But
that makes it a little easier, I guess.
But I can imagine that there's a stress level there of trying to make sure that you're like, this is entertaining and educational at the same time. Yes, for sure.
It was weird to because it's so much easier to convey that when I'm just blabbing my mouth on YouTube.
Right.
When you put it in a book, it's like, how do I like capture myself in text?
Yeah.
In all of these pages.
And you can't control how someone reads it.
Totally. Yeah. You don't have like any intonation. Like all those things make a huge difference in how you come across.
Absolutely.
So that was a weird challenge.
Are you doing an audiobook version of it?
Yeah.
Did you do that already?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be really fun. And also that's a very stressful experience.
Oh, cool. Super stoked.
Yeah,
So
talking about like super explicit sex stuff in like a booth.
Yeah.
With some like engineer dude
That'll
staring
be
at
exciting.
you.
Yeah. Really looking forward to that.
Stone-faced.
Yeah. No, you'll be great.
You'll be fine.
It'll be totally
I mean, you've
great.
done so many videos at this point talking about this stuff. You're probably like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the content. I'm just more worried about sitting there. They told me it was going to be like 5 days, 8-hour days, straight across, just reading.
It's exhausting. And then you read and you forget how to say words. And you think, am I sounding like a norm? Am I saying sentences?
Am I a human right now?
Yeah, exactly.
That already happens to me. So I'm not looking forward to the audiobook version.
How was the writing process in general, though?
It was good. I actually really loved it. Like that's part of why I was like, I need to go back to school because I just love like the sexual health aspects. Our bodies are so cool. They are. They're so amazing. I just feel like, wow, like there's so much we don't know about the body we literally live in.
Oh,
and how it works and why it does what it does. And, learning more about that because I was trying to be more elaborate than a video, like a 3-minute video, was really cool. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I love that shit.
That's I know. We talk about this all the time. I'm like, the human body is awesome to me and also terrifying. So I'm like, how are we not breaking constantly all the time? There's so many systems firing all at
question.
Once. Yeah, and if I think about that too much, I go crazy. So
Yeah,
I have
true.
to give myself the benefit of the doubt. Let's talk about drag queens.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah. I saw you did a video about like, is drag okay for kids?
Yes.
I can imagine that the feedback on that was probably a little mixed.
Polarizing.
A little polarizing. Well, there's like all these kids that are doing drag because they love RuPaul.
I just went down a K-hole looking at all the drag con photos from over the weekend on Instagram.
They're so cute.
Oh, they're so amazing.
Yeah, they're adorable.
The people that bring their kids dressed in drag, I'm like, yes, this is wonderful.
Yeah, and they get to express it. It's like playing dress up.
Exactly.
It's self-expression. I think it's beautiful. But so many people are like bullying these 9-year-old kids online, which
really?
Well, internet.
Yeah. Classic internet.
Never underestimate what people will do. But yeah, the whole topic was inspired by these kids kind of being bullied online and maybe some legitimate concerns being raised about seeing kids in like nightclubs and things like that, and trying to find the nuance in that acknowledges how wonderful it can be for a kid to express themselves that way, while also not dismissing the concerns of people who are just very uncomfortable, and drag is maybe super new to them. They don't understand it. They think it's like a gay thing.
Right.
Or like it's a sexual thing.
Right.
And it's not, like, drag is not about sexiness. I mean, have you seen what they wear?
I mean, it's cumbersome.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's glamorous often, but it's not necessarily,
it's art. It's walking art.
Provocative.
Totally.
Yeah.
It can be, but it's also artistic.
Completely.
It's not like...
It's extremely elaborate dress up and performance.
Yeah, it's Halloween every day for
Halloween
them.
every day, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
But the thing that makes people uncomfortable is the gender stuff. It's like, what are little boys are dressing up like girls?
Gotcha.
So it's connected to a lot of like deeper shit, I would say.
Sure.
But yeah.
And panic too, I think. I think there's that fear that if I let my boy dress like a girl, he's going to want to dress like a girl all the time. Or it's sort of like, I think if your boy wants to dress like a girl and you tell him he's not allowed, then he's really going to want to dress like a girl.
Yeah, when you tell him they can't have cookies, all he wants are the cookies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
this is like a very basic thing that a lot of people just need to understand.
Yeah.
Like when you tell people they can't do a thing,
they want to do it.
They will do the thing.
Yeah.
Much more extremely. Like you just got to accept that sometimes just letting people do what they want to do is going to deter the stuff that you want. You
exactly.
know? Yeah.
That said, who's your favorite drag queen? I know it's impossible to name just one.
Yeah, honestly, my heart is with one of my friends who is a WeHo drag queen, and we've known each other for a long time. Her drag name is Doll, the drag doll.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like spooky, like subversive, kind of haunted drag.
Ooh.
It's kind of like dark gothic.
Whoa.
And Yeah, I just love.
Where does she perform?
The Abbey, Flaming Saddles, all over
That's
town.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's been really fun watching her kind of come up over the last like 5 or 6 years and really come into her own in that role and in that character.
That's the coolest thing to me. Mamrie has a best friend from New York who decided last year, his name's Jacob, that he really wanted to do drag. He'd been wanting to forever, or like 2 years ago. And so I remember we had dinner with him on her birthday when he was telling us about this character that Mamrie named called Crystal Mesh. Get Meshy.
Oh my goodness.
And I follow him on Instagram and I've just been watching this progression of like truly you develop into this role, this character.
Yeah.
I get chills just like talking about it because I'm like, it's so cool.
That's amazing.
Also, just to watch him get better at putting on makeup and like to try different looks is, I love it.
It's really artsy.
Yeah.
And I love how subversive it is. It's just kind of like a middle finger to everything we tell people they need to be. It's like, I can get down with that. You do you know?
100%. Well, we're going to take a really quick break. And when we get back, we have some awesome Twitter questions for you. Cool. So we'll be right back with Laci Green on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Are you a psychopath without an outlet?
How did you know?
I mean, sorry, I was talking to myself in a mirror, Jack, but thanks for letting me know. Do you feel like you understood the movie Swim Fan on a deeper level than your friends? Have you ever been ghosted before a first date because you came on a tad too strong?
Well, then this new podcast by friends of the show, Corrine Fisher, who is also co-host of Guys We Fucked, and Rosebud Baker, a writer for Elite Daily, is for you.
Listen, Two Less Lonely Girls is an unironic podcast about Justin Bieber hosted by two proud adult beliebers.
They are true believers. And after only a dozen episodes, co-hosts Corinne and Rosebud have already been contacted by Justin's mom, Patty, and Justin's pastor at Hillsong / Jesus Daddy, Carl, who have both listened to the podcast.
I mean, that's a sign of a successful podcast.
I'll say.
If you ask me. This podcast explores topics like who the song Love Yourself is really about, what a church service at Hillsong is like, what all Justin's tattoos mean, and what it's like to interact with Justin from the perspective of the paparazzi.
That's impressive because he has a lot of tattoos. And if you're not a believer, don't worry. This podcast is also about celebrity on a deeper level because famous people are up to some weird shit.
Super weird shit. So Two Less Lonely Girls comes out every Monday on Apple and Spotify. It's free, and each episode is only about 30 minutes.
You already have 12 episodes to catch up on, so go subscribe to Two Less Lonely Girls today. This is a celebrity gossip lover's wet dream. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Not too deep.
When rumors are this juicy, does it even matter if they're true?
Gossip is the first ever comedic soap opera podcast from the mind of actor, comedian, and someone I am a fan of, Allison Raskin.
We're both fans of her. She's absolutely wonderful. Great dog, by the way, that she owns. Excellent. Just side note for you. Allison is also a New York Times bestselling author and co-creator of the Just Between Us YouTube channel.
So in Gossip, 3 unlikely friends, Valerie, Mia, and Bethany, meet each other at the Golden Cup Coffee Corner to dish about the latest rumors floating around their not-so-traditional suburban town, Golden Acres.
Look, there's infidelity, epic fights, crazy sisters and former bachelorettes, girls going missing, and murder, maybe even a serial killer priest.
And each week, you'll learn more about the 3 women's juicy pasts as the story unfolds.
So if you're a fan of shows like Jane the Virgin, Desperate Housewives, or Big Little Lies, you will love Gossip.
So get into the rumors now before you're left out. You can listen to episodes 1 and 2 of Gossip right now on Apple Podcasts, Stitchers, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You went to Berkeley, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience? Because Hannah also went there. Do you feel like you fit the stereotype of the Berkeley alum?
I mean, it kind of depends on what your stereotype is now, because I feel like Berkeley's been in the press so much with all this free speech stuff.
Oh, right.
You know, like all of these contrarians and provocateurs triggering the libs at Berkeley.
Like Milo.
Yeah.
What's his name?
That
dude. Yeah.
That whole brigade. But I mean, I definitely identify with like the Berkeley identity of, you know, being kind of a obnoxious, liberally type who loves the outdoors and granola. I mean, I get down with that.
Crunchy.
It's crunchy. Yeah. It's very crunchy. I like a good crunch. And I think like a lot of the stuff about Berkeley just kind of reinforces that. Like Berkeley is a free speech haven. It's a really progressive place. It was where the free speech movement started.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's super cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah talks about her Berkeley experience a lot. And it's like she lived like in a commune with her friends.
Yeah.
Like it's that
they got those co-ops going.
Yeah. It's like a very unabashed, like the stereotype that you imagine is exactly what it is for her experience. I was like, this sounds pretty great.
I honestly wish that co-ops were like a thing in general. Yeah. I would love to live in a space where you have like your own room, but it's like big, where you live with maybe 20 people and you got like some communal spaces. I like that.
I feel like that happens in downtown LA a little bit. I feel
like the artist stuff.
Yeah, there's like an art area down there that seems like a lot of that cool stuff is happening. Okay, before we get into these Twitter questions, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every single guest on the podcast.
Okay.
And the first one is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Ooh, cold spaghetti. I'm feeling powerful. I'm drunk with spaghetti power. Well, today I'm really mad at that dude, Ajit Pai.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He sucks.
The net neutrality guy.
Yeah, that guy's the worst.
Yeah.
Because he's like ruining my internet. Yeah. I feel like a defensive mom who needs to like throw some spaghetti at him.
That would make total sense.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Absolutely.
I'm not into that.
It's really gross. It doesn't make sense.
Do you guys get like a lot of political? I'm just curious, like
not much.
So we get.
I'm super political, so I love talking about this.
That's
stuff.
cool.
But we get a lot of people wanting to throw cold spaghetti at Trump.
Oh, of course.
Which is, you know,
the cold
kind
spaghetti
of
king.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we did get Pence recently, which was refreshing. Change of pace.
A visual.
He sucks too. Let's not forget he also sucks.
Yeah, how much he sucks. That's so true.
He's just quieter about how much he sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Wait, pants shit, like
pants shitting story, if you've ever shit your pants, and or like a close call.
I don't think I've ever like felt close to shitting my pants.
What is that like?
I know. My bowels are pristine.
Good for you. No wonder you're so confident.
That's true. It's all down here.
Right? Pissing your pants. A close call there.
Okay. I've had it actually happened at VidCon.
Oh, okay, but you can only use 3 words.
3 words, okay.
Or 3 small phrases.
VidCon, house, sink.
Oh no! But also, like, very resourceful, I can imagine.
Sometimes you gotta be thrifty in a tight situation.
Yeah, you do.
You're no longer invited into my co-op.
Damn.
The co-op has no toilets, only sinks.
Only sinks.
Okay, let's get into these Twitter questions. Someone asks, what scents do you value most?
Scent?
Scents.
Like your 5 senses. Right, those are a thing. Oh, man. Oh, God. Jeez. Maybe my eyes.
Your eyes?
I'm a very visual person. Like, I love beautiful things.
Yeah.
And I don't like to hear people talk. So it's like, I could see that being a good situation.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I think mine would be eyes, too.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be blind.
Right.
But in my abstract non-blind person interpretation, it would be dark.
Yes.
And I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. Maybe it would be beautiful in its own way. Who knows?
You would probably eventually find beauty, but I think going blind, knowing what the world looks like having the sense of sight and then going blind, I think would be a very difficult transition.
Totally.
Though I love those videos of people that are colorblind that see color for the first time. It makes my heart so warm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are great.
So good.
It's beautiful. Okay, someone wants to know, what was the coolest thing you've ever seen at a wedding you have attended? Do you go to a lot of weddings?
No, I don't really go to weddings. I feel like people don't get married that much anymore.
I agree with you.
And I have a small family. Like, I don't have people getting married.
Yeah, my older brother got married a couple years ago. And then I feel like a guy I dated a few years ago had a bunch of friends get married all within like the same years that we were dating. So I went to like a bunch of weddings within 2 years.
Yeah,
And
they come in waves.
Right. And then I haven't been to one in like 5 years. Like, it's nuts. Yeah.
That's kind of strange.
It's very strange. But what's the coolest thing you've ever, or the coolest wedding you've ever been to?
I've only been to like 3 weddings.
Okay.
So I feel like I don't really have like a wedding Rolodex to choose from. You know?
Would you have a wedding?
Would I have a wedding?
Yeah.
Probably. I have to think about that.
Yeah.
Probably. Because, like, it's good to have an excuse to just, like, party with your friends.
That's all it is.
In a pretty place.
Yeah.
Wearing pretty things.
Exactly.
Who doesn't want to do that? I'm into it.
Maybe we should just throw more fancy parties for ourselves.
Parties.
Yeah.
Jack loves a fancy party.
I love a fancy party.
Who doesn't? It's so fun.
It is fun.
Not too often, though.
I don't need to be legally bound to somebody to have a fun party.
Yeah, maybe we just need more like galas.
Or
I would
like
be totally down to throw a gala. I think that would be
throw the first annual Not Too Deep gala.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean,
guys, let us know on Twitter if you think this is a good idea.
If you think this is a good idea, let us know.
Any excuse to get dressed up, I am all for.
So fun.
Someone says jelly for eyebrows or peanut butter for fingernails. Fascinating.
Probably jelly for eyebrows because you need your hands to be mobile for things. And I feel like I just get peanut butter everywhere.
And dogs would just be all over you.
Oh, God. what a tragedy that would be.
That's a positive.
I don't know. That's actually a good pro peanut butter fingers point.
Yeah, if you chew your nails, it's like a snack.
A treat. A true delight.
You know?
Just a little seasoning on those fingers.
Yeah, I think you need to rethink this, Laci.
That's true.
If you had jelly for eyebrows, you'd never have to draw them in every day. You'd never have to pluck them. You'd never have to manicure them.
It depends on how thick it is, though.
True.
Like, is it leaking into my eyes?
Yeah.
Like,
I think you can choose.
Okay, cool. Choices. I like that.
Someone says, how many times have people asked you to look at weird stuff on their junk?
Oh, does that happen?
Do you have people ask you like questions about their body, like rashes?
And you're like, I am not a doctor.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of rash emails.
Really?
Yeah, usually not accompanied with pictures because my email submission doesn't have
for the
pictures.
best. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we have to make good choices. But yeah, the descriptions are almost worse sometimes.
Sure.
It's like, what are you talking about?
I guess people just immediately assume that like because you're talking about sex, you must be a gynecologist.
Right.
So I can talk to you about this.
Yeah, I mean, I have like some basic knowledge of like, if you are having these symptoms, that's probably going to be this, and you should go to the doctor and confirm that it's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the descriptions of things are usually textual, not visual. Thank you. And
yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with whatever's going on your body. It's cool. It's just a weird approach to write like 4 paragraphs about a bump you have.
Yeah.
And describing it in really interesting detail. I just like, medicine is not there yet. One day AI will look at this paragraph and diagnose you, but that is not happening.
And in the time it took you to describe this via email, you could have maybe made a doctor's appointment.
People are so scared of their doctors, though. They're terrified, especially for STD stuff, you know?
Oh, for sure. I think there's just that whole like paranoia that like they're going to hear the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's scary. But like if you have something, not going to the doctor isn't gonna make it go away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the strangest, or if there's something that pops out in your mind, interaction you've had with either like a fan or someone that came up to you on the street or someone at VidCon or something like that?
Sometimes people, and I'm sure you've had this too, like people will grab me from behind.
Ooh.
Like hug from behind.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
It's really scary. Yeah. I'm like, have you ever had someone you weren't expecting just grab you from behind? And I usually tell them this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I so appreciate your love, but if you ever had someone grab you from behind when you weren't expecting it, that's a scary experience. Yeah. So you shouldn't do that.
No, for sure. Yeah. And it takes that moment for, I think, people to register like,
oh that was weird.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that.
They see you and talk to you online, so they assume like, we're friends. Yeah. We know each other.
But like, even my good friends, like if they come up behind me and I'm not expecting it, they might get like a flailing fist.
Of course.
You know?
In this 2018, big time.
In this 2018 year.
Yeah.
A lot of fists flying.
Lots of fists flying.
Year.
So guys, just, mark down on your what not to do at VidCon list. Boom. Grab people from behind. Also, just what not to do in life list, I think is probably good.
It's a life skill right there.
I like that we're starting with VidCon, though.
Yeah. Start at VidCon and then move up to other.
Let that ripple out to the rest of America.
Yeah. Oh, someone wants to know, what's the weirdest gift you've ever gotten from a fan?
Oh, weird.
Do people give you things?
Gifts. Yeah, people give me things. Someone once gave me a dildo shaped like their penis.
They're like molded after their actual penis.
Yeah.
How do they do that? Did they sculpt it?
Well, there's these kits that you can buy if either of you is ever interested.
Wait. It's so you can like make a mold?
It's a DIY project?
Of your erection?
DIY.
Mel's like, yep, I know.
Mel's nodding. She knows.
That is the face of experience, right?
That's so
she knows
funny.
what's up.
I mean, she's got the Gorgeous Guys book on the table and this
the
mold.
hints were there all along.
There are a lot of penises in this room.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a motif. That's pretty, I mean, and there's, how do you accept that gift? Because that seems like a strange intention of like, is this meant because they like you in a romantic way?
It's like a
Is this a
dick
romantic
pic on the
gesture?
next level.
Yeah.
Here's my dick.
It's a 3D dick pic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, it's flattering, I guess.
Is it?
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to get
My
that.
feeling was like, wow, I'm so flattered. It was more like, wow, this is really strange, but also kind of cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was kind of like enthusiastic about art things. He's like an artsy dude.
Got it.
So that was how he expressed his artistic feelings about sex, I guess.
Well, but how was it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Never actually
I'm just kidding.
used it, but when that day comes.
At what event was this?
It was at a school that I spoke
What?
at.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah.
had like a P.O. box or something.
Oh, no. He handed this to me.
you?
Yeah.
So you got to
that's
see
so
the person
awkward.
that this is attached to. Yeah.
I mean, it really,
Wow.
brought the experience to life in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
And can you imagine like going up after him and being like, I wrote you a letter. I don't have a dick
Sorry,
sculpture.
I'm a disappointment.
Wow.
Yeah, it really did change the expectations really went up for fan gifts after that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would know what to do. I think I'd be so uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And confused with like the appropriate way to react
I
to
can't imagine being that guy. Looking somebody in the eye being like, here's my penis.
Yeah.
And handing it to them.
I mean, he handed it to me and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, did you make it? And because it looks handmade,
And he
right? It's
said
made out of
yes.
that stuff. And he was like, yeah, I made it. I modeled it after myself. Wink. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
Gosh. Well, that's
well, it was
very-
nice to meet you. But you know what? This is one thing to note is like these are events where people are handing me things that look like genitals relatively frequently. So it wasn't like,
Completely out of place.
Yeah, it wasn't completely out of bounds.
Do you do a lot of speaking events like on college campuses and things like that?
Yeah.
How is that experience?
It's interesting. It's like changed a lot over the years. Yeah, because I feel like people are learning more about sex from the internet.
Right.
So they're coming in with a higher level of information now than they were 6 years ago.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's super great. But also it's just so obvious how different our country is depending on where you go.
Yeah, you
Like,
must see like the
polar extremes.
regionalisms.
Totally. And it's really jarring. Like,
Really?
yeah, because you'll walk into one place where you're talking to freshmen and they've never heard the word penis said by an educator, you know?
Right.
And you're putting up these like slides of a penis and they're just deer in headlights. Like it's clear they're slightly horrified. They're fascinated but horrified.
Yeah.
And then you'll go to like these super liberal private schools where you have all these liberal kids from New York City or whatever with their rich parents and they've like already gotten sex ed 80 times.
Right.
And they want to go like deep with stuff and like they're like, what, penis? I could like draw that myself and label it for you.
Yeah.
So it's
They just want all the advanced techniques.
they want advanced techniques. They also like the political stuff, right? It starts to get really political
interesting.
about the
sure.
LGBT stuff and a lot of stuff about like, I don't know, women's rights and kind of the intersection of sex and politics more so once people have their basics down on their body.
Right.
And that can be a little bit trickier actually because people are very passionate and have very
opinionated.
different opinions about things.
And their opinions are probably very strong. Do you find that in the Trump era, like, are you heartened by how we're finally having like actual conversations about consent?
Yes.
In a way that we weren't before.
Totally.
Like that's sort of, I kind of look at it as sort of like the silver lining of this very, very dark cloud.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if you have to be optimistic about what comes out of this, then it is, I think, getting conversations going. People not being afraid to sit in silence.
So I imagine that must be a bigger topic of conversation now than when you first started.
Totally. Yeah. The consent topic is much more like people are familiar with it, but I actually think there's even much more anxiety about it too. Like people are worried about how to do consent because they're worried about it being accused of something, right?
Right.
Whereas before it was like, I felt like more of my talks were centered around like how to have a really pleasant, loving experience with a partner.
Right.
Now it's like, how do I avoid being a me too? Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like the wrong framework. It should be about like loving your partner the way they want to be loved. Right.
Not avoiding an accusation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird. But, you know, talking about it, got to start somewhere.
Yeah, no,
it's a good thing overall. So
that's true. Is there an ideal speaking engagement or like conference or something that you haven't been to yet that you'd love to go to?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've like
done a lot of it.
Done a lot. Yeah. I feel very fortunate to have sat in so many different rooms around this kind of stuff. One thing that I would love to do more of is talk to some of these parents.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. To kind of try to figure out, is there a way to like change the way we're talking about it that makes it more comfortable for people who are just so anti-sex ed?
Right. And trying to get to the root of where the negativity and like the resistance comes from.
Mm-hmm. And is there a way to make you more comfortable?
Yeah. Because it's got to be a personal projection, I would imagine, like 90% of the time.
Yeah,
it's like they weren't told, they weren't made comfortable, they weren't explained that this is okay to have these kind of conversations, and it's just trickled down the way.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think the other part of it is there are people who just feel that when you educate people on what sex is, then they're going
to be having sex like crazy.
They're going to be having it.
I mean,
and all of the research,
they're going to have it regardless. You want them to have it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
So you got to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's the greater issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, the one like major misconception that maybe would be helpful to get out there more is that talking about it actually raises the age of first sex. That is like there's so much research that shows that.
So proven.
Yes.
Wow.
Statistically, yeah.
Yeah, and so like this idea that we keep it from kids, they have sex sooner.
Yeah.
And they're not prepared, like you said, you know, so it's a bad situation.
And areas with abstinence-only education have higher rates of teenage pregnancy.
And STIs as well, yeah.
Because I always wonder with this like new surgence of like 16 and pregnant and like young and pregnant and like all of these MTV shows, even with like Catfish, I always wonder, is this doing more harm than good by glorifying this idea of like these teenagers that are struggling and have a child and are
Do you think it's glorifying?
I don't know. I heard, this is not based on any factual anything, but I remember hearing years ago that like the rate of 16-year-olds after 16 and pregnant took off from TV.
Oh, wow.
Having children was like exponentially increased because people wanted to be on the show.
Oh, God.
They wanted to be famous, quote unquote, for having a child at a teenage year. I don't know if that's true.
They should get a passport and try out for The Amazing Race instead.
Yeah, touche. You know, I don't know about that. There's probably a bunch of studies at this point, but there was another study to ease your worried heart that showed 16 and pregnant lowered rates.
Oh, amazing.
In areas where there was high watching.
Gotcha.
You can't like establish this caused this,
right?
But
yeah, it's causation, or correlation is not necessarily causation.
Totally.
Do you guys remember that show Undressed on MTV?
No.
Undressed was a show that basically taught me about sex.
Really?
It was like this show that was on every night at like 11 o'clock on MTV. And it was like it's basically like a college soap opera essentially. And it would be like 3 episodes would follow like 3 different storylines. And then you get 3 new storylines. And it's just about people like in high school and college, like having sex and like trying to figure it out.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And it was like
cool.
the most raw, real thing I'd ever seen. And I was in high school when it was airing. And I was like, this is like, you wait to watch Undressed at night. But it was so scandalous.
Right.
Even though in hindsight, I'm sure if I watched it, I'd be like, this is like a PG.
Very low key.
Yeah. And wasn't Loveline on at that time too?
Loveline was on at that time, but I didn't really get into that because I didn't understand what it was. This was like soap opera. So there's the narrative and the drama and the relationship, sagas that were happening. Also, what's his face? Adam Brody, who was on the OC. He started on Undressed. And I remember watching him having such a crush on him. And we didn't have like internet, so I would watch the credits to try and figure out what his real name was. And I couldn't figure it out until the OC. I was like, that guy looks so familiar. It's my crush from Undressed.
That's so awesome. I love that. MTV's kind of always been a bit of a crusader on the sex positive front.
Yeah, because your like first main thing was like working with MTV,
right?
Yeah,
I did some stuff with MTV, and I just like having worked with their teams for a few years, I just feel like they really are invested in more positive messaging.
Yeah.
And I think there is like a self-awareness in my experience about like, we do music stuff sometimes. I guess MTV is much broader now, but But, you know, the way that music talks about sex is often in a very like sexy, bow chicka wow wow kind of way. And that isn't necessarily like all the messaging that people need about sex. Yeah, it's just one part of
What would you recommend on top of your videos, places that people or like people that you think are doing really great work in like sex education or like shows that you think are doing really good kind of
oh my goodness. There's so many. I mean, in general, I love Scarlet Teen.
Okay.
Great website. Lots of just so comprehensive forums, everything. I love that website. It's amazing. And just in terms of like sexual health stuff, Go Ask Alice is another great one.
Okay.
But I love Erica Moen's Oh Joy Sex Toy comic.
Oh, fun.
So she's more in the content creator sphere and she is just fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love her stuff.
Someone wants to know, what advice do you have for Harry and Meghan on their wedding night?
Oh my God.
Important. Inquiring minds need to know.
God, that's a lot of pressure. Like, how am I going to make your wedding night so great?
Imagine how Meghan feels.
I don't know. Maybe just like, you know, try new things out.
There you go.
Go there. You know? Gotta go all out. It's a wedding night, right?
I feel like that could be your tagline. Go there.
I would recommend go easy on the alcohol at the reception.
Oh, that's a good point.
Sure. But it's also the royal wedding.
Yeah, that's true. How are you going to,
man.
So many
there must be all kinds of like, traditional royal alcohol to consume.
Traditional royal alcohol.
There must be.
I want to try that.
It's also ritualized. Like it must be like this is the wine from like I don't know.
Here's I mean, speaking of like drinking, what do you when you take time off from being online or social media? What do you do like to reset, reprogram? I've been asking a lot of people this lately, just to one because I could use some advice, but two, just I think it's interesting to find out what people do offline since everyone's so plugged in constantly.
Yeah, I mean, before I tell you, is there anything that's been like so enlightening or like useful in your life?
In my life, I mean, a lot of people are doing the thing, and maybe you told me this, Jack, where you try to turn off your phone, or maybe you told me this, Mel, like do the whole turn everything off technology-wise, like an hour before bed or something. What were you telling? You were telling me something along those lines.
Yeah, it's that does help, but it's very hard to do.
I know, because you're like, well, what if I miss this email?
I also like just lose track of time, and I don't realize how late it is.
Yeah.
So I had to put a thing on my phone that was just like, okay, time to start winding down. And like every time it pops up, I'm always like, already? No, come on.
Party's just starting.
Yeah, I know.
I've been getting more in touch with going outside and traveling to places that don't have reception and trying to be, because my boyfriend loves camping a ton, and I previously wasn't a big camper. And he also likes going camping and not telling me that we won't have reception. And so now I've grown to assume that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, it's a little uncomfortable at first, but then like letting go into that has been like a wonderful way to reset and balance things out.
Totally.
So what do you do?
That's a good one. Yeah, I do all those things. I think that's great. And I do it usually, sometimes I'll take like 3 or 4 days where I will like delete my apps so I can't be tempted to go on my
that's
phone.
Smart.
That's super
I sign out
nice.
of mine to do that.
Yeah, that would
It
probably
gives you
do
an
the
extra
job.
moment to think about what you want to do.
Because I'm like, what's my password? Ugh, never mind. I guess I'll go do something productive.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think that's really important because we're so oversaturated with our screens and it's so addictive.
Oh, and you
get that little dopamine hit every time you see a notification or something.
Exactly.
Oh my God, so
and
evil.
It's just programmed. We've conditioned ourselves.
Totally.
And so it's unconditioning that is so hard to do. That I'm like, how do you unravel this giant knot?
But there's also, I kind of try to use that to my advantage as well. Like one of the things that I like to do is I like to ride my bicycle a lot. And so like I have an app on my phone that like tracks my ride. And I can be like, did I do faster today? Did I do better than yesterday? Whatever. And so I try to like sort of gamify it. But I find that to be very zen.
Yeah, super zen.
There's like a way, I think there's a way to sort of find that balance. And I think that's really the tricky thing because like that feels like a great use of my phone that I'm very positive about. Scrolling absentmindedly through Instagram for 45 minutes and then suddenly realizing that half the day is gone.
Feel that.
That feels negative to me.
Yeah, totally. No reward.
Totally.
Yeah.
That said, what's your favorite social media platform?
I don't really like social media.
There you go.
Shots fired.
Like I don't. Like it's so weird that I think about this a lot. I'm like, I don't like socializing online, and yet here is such a big part of my life. Right. I'm like expected to. Yeah, but I mean, if I had to choose one, it would probably be Facebook because I'm 90 on the inside.
Yeah.
And also it connects me to my friends.
Oh,
you know,
true.
and like we plan our little trips and all kinds of stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
I like seeing what my, crazy aunt in Oregon's doing. What's going on up there. I like being able to see what's going on with the real people in my life.
Yeah, that you're actually connected to in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if I had to only have one forever, it would be Facebook.
Got it.
But I think I could probably live without Facebook too.
I think I might be even happier without it.
I think I am happier without it. Like I feel like social media
proven.
Yeah,
that's true. This is not conjecture. Yeah, no, for real. I just feel like it makes me happier when I'm not online.
There you go.
You know.
Well, that said, make sure you go watch Laci's videos on YouTube.
Yeah, where can people find you on social media?
Well, Laci, thank you so much for being here. This has been super fun. We're gonna give you. We make a custom fortune cookie for everyone that is a guest on Not Too Deep. So you can feel free to open it.
Is this you telling my fortune?
I mean, it's just somehow got in there.
It's the cookie.
Okay.
That's telling you your
Wow,
fortune.
I'm really excited now.
Yeah.
My expectations are high.
As they should be.
Okay. It reads... Oh, goodness. Your dream sex bot will only become sentient just enough to be able to do the dishes when it feels like a bowl has been left out a day too long. Very considerate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
More reasons to get a sex bot.
There we go.
This was the last push I needed.
Exactly. The universe is telling you that you need a sex bot in your life.
I agree. 100%.
This has been so much fun, but in reality, where can people find your videos, find you online to get all of the, I think, really helpful and pertinent information?
Thank you. Yeah, YouTube's the best place.
Okay.
That's where I post most of the videos, but I tweet sometimes and
cool
Insta sometimes.
And is your YouTube channel just Laci Green?
Yep.
Laci Green?
It's Laci Green.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Guys, go check her out if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time on Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep.
With Grace Helbig.
This summer, step up your grill game with the revolutionary Beyond Burger. This mouth-watering masterpiece is the only plant-based burger that is so meaty it's sold in the meat case at your local grocery store. It's packed with protein, it's better for you and the planet, and will satisfy even the most ravenous of carnivores. Ready to taste the future of protein? Visit beyondmeat.com/grace to find a local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/grace.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.